everybody, good morning. This is a collective convo. I've had this on my list for a while, but I think it's finally time to talk about it. So, we're going to talk about avoidance and anxious attachment styles. Hey, I'm not an expert in this, but I think I'm like embody both of these. I often go for emotionally unavailable people because I myself am also emotionally unavailable. So I've been learning a lot about this lately, and I think we should talk about it. We're going to start with avoidance, okay? If this is the first time you've heard this, sometimes within relationship dynamics, people have certain styles of attachment, as we all have different love language and such. But these attachment styles are often rooted in some sort of trauma, and there's varying degrees of that. So, I hope that this conversation can offer us some support if we ourselves feel called out in this conversation. It's not my intention to attack anyone. Like I already said, I embody both of these things. I think that it's important to have some self-reflection if we do feel like this resonates. And hopefully we can, become more whole and heal ourselves. The first step to doing that is becoming aware of some of our own patterns as they affect others. Stop it, Hootie. You're not coming over here right now. Get the fuck down. No, you can go lay somewhere else. You're not laying on my table right now. There's plenty of other places in this house to lay down. Okay, anyway. Alright, that's attachment. Okay. Avoidant attachment style is characterized by the desire for independence, discomfort with emotional intimacy, and a tendency to distance oneself from others. Individuals with this style may have difficulty trusting others and forming close relationships due to early experiences where their emotional needs weren't met consistently. I just did a reading like 2 seconds ago. It just finished uploading, called "The Past Informs the Present and the Present Determines the Future," and that's why I thought that this would be good. Because that we kind of talked about in that reading how our lack of support from others, especially those who are supposed to support us, often informs our ego in a lot of different ways, right? And that can come through as either avoidant or anxious attachment styles. Okay, so if you struggle with relationships, and this isn't just relationships like romantic relationships, this is all sorts of relationships, friendships, family. I mean, I don't really believe in having to keep your family around if your family are the ones that abused you. I myself am no contact with my entire family, all of them, extended, whatnot, everyone. I don't talk to any of them. So I totally understand, and most of that is because of the way I was treated, when I was little. So let's go ahead and go through each of these bullet points. There's only 5. And then we can talk about some of the causes so that we can offer some sort of grace and compassion for ourselves and others when we encounter this. And then we'll move on to the anxious attachment style. Discomfort with intimacy. And avoidant individuals find it difficult to be emotionally close to others and may actively avoid situations that involve emotional closeness. I am using Google. This is available on your phone too, okay? I just typed in avoidant attachment style if you'd like to look at it later. Need for independence. They value autonomy and self-reliance, often preferring to rely on themselves rather than others for emotional support. Difficulty trusting others. They may struggle to trust others and can be hesitant to share their thoughts and feelings. Emotional unavailability. They may be emotionally distant and struggle to show affection or express emotions openly. I think that's very common for our society, especially under patriarch. I think that's very common for men, especially. And I think that emotion often comes out in anger and violence instead of just, having the balls to share your emotions in the time. I'm not laughing at anyone. I'm laughing at the societal context of everything. I'm not laughing at how individuals navigate that, okay? Fear of abandonment or rejection. They may have a fear of being hurt or abandoned by others, leading them to avoid close relationships. Like I already said in the very beginning, I believe I embody both styles. So I'm like hella confusing. I feel like sometimes when I get close to people, I'm like the Tasmanian devil. And I also practice, like, I'm healing immensely from codependency. So I think that is something that we'll probably talk about with anxious attachment style. There's a balance in everything, okay? Alright, causes of avoidance could be some early childhood experiences, such as avoidant attachment often develops when a child's emotional needs are not consistently met by their caregivers. Emotionally unavailable or critical parents. Children may develop avoidant attachment if their parents are consistently unavailable, dismissive of their emotions, or overly critical. Learning to self-soothe. In environments where emotional support is lacking, children may learn to rely on themselves to meet their own emotional needs, leading to a preference for independence. And then we're going to talk about how they impact relationships, and then we'll move on to anxious. So how it impacts relationships. Difficulty forming close relationships. Individuals with avoidant attachment may find it difficult to form and maintain close, loving relationships. Emotional distance. In relationships, they may struggle to be emotionally vulnerable and may distance themselves from partners when they feel the need for closeness. Unmet emotional needs. They may feel isolated and lonely despite having romantic partners, as they struggle to connect emotionally. Alright, now, the other end of that is anxious attachment. Why didn't you? Oh, there it is. Okay. And we'll go through that now. An anxious attachment style is characterized by a strong desire for closeness and intimacy in relationships, accompanied by a fear of abandonment and rejection. I'm laughing at me. I definitely have this one. Individuals with, I think I've embodied the avoidant in the past probably decade, but I think my inner child is anxious, okay? Individuals with this style often crave reassurance and validation and may be overly dependent on their partners and experience heightened emotional responses to the potential threats to the relationship. This style is often rooted in the inconsistent and unpredictable parenting experiences in childhood. So both of these go back to childhood, which is why it's super important to do our healing, our inner child healing, which I've made a lot of content about, including that reading today. The inner child healing did come out within that reading. Alright, key characteristics of anxious attachment style. A strong desire for closeness and intimacy. Individuals with this style crave relationships and may struggle to be alone. Fear of abandonment and rejection. They worry about their partner leaving or not loving them. Need for reassurance and validation. They constantly seek confirmation of their partner's love and commitment. Emotional sensitive and reactivity. They may react strongly to perceived threats to the relationship, such as perceived criticism or distance. Difficulty being independent. They may find it hard to be alone or may become clingy or needy in relationships. That's something really important to work with if you know you have codependent tendencies. Like my mother raised me very much to be codependent on her, and I just finally cut that cord last year. So as a 38-year-old, I'm still learning how to be interdependent with a healthy ability to work with others. Like I am very aware of codependence within my anxious attachment style. Addiction can also stem from these things. If you struggle with addiction, that's probably one of the reasons as well. Potential for jealousy and mistrust. They may be suspicious of their partner's intentions or behavior. May have low self-esteem. They may struggle with self-worth and may feel that they need to rely on others for validation. And rooted in childhood experiences, this style often develops in response to inconsistent or unpredictable caregiving, which is the root of both of those. I want to make that very clear. The root of both avoidant and anxious styles is verbatim response to an inconsistent or unpredictable caregiving. So let's take a deep breath. I feel like every one of us, not every one of us, a majority of us on the planet have experienced that. So if we think about our interpersonal relationships with others, the facades that we put on when we're in a professional space, right? Like if we're at work and other things, a lot of people don't even know who they are anymore because they are just who is expected of them, right? They embody this character to protect themselves, their little ones, from being really seen, because in childhood there were those inconsistencies that led to either an anxious or avoidant, right? And it depends on, the severity of those situations as well. So let's read through Google how that impacts relationships, just like we did for the avoidance, okay? Difficulty trusting. They may struggle to trust their partner's words or intentions, leading to conflict and tension. May be seen as clingy or needy. Their constant need for reassurance and validation can be perceived as overwhelming or controlling. May have a difficulty setting boundaries. They may prioritize their partner's needs over their own, leading to emotional exhaustion and resentment. I'm guilty of all of these, but I also have started to embody the avoidant stuff too. May engage in people-pleasing behavior. They may try to please their partner in order to feel loved and accepted. It may experience relationship distress. They may be more prone to experiencing conflict and difficulties in their relationships. Mostly probably because they've always had the other shoe drop. If you're not familiar with this saying, it's like, things are getting better or things are looking up, and then there's something else that happened. And if you come from a controlling, codependent family, they create that environment where, like, that was my mother. Even as a grown-ass adult, I was still being treated like a child, and I couldn't do it anymore, especially as a mother myself. And then there's anxious avoidance attachments. Let's read that one too. Anxious avoidant attachment is also known as fearful avoidant or disorganized attachment. Combines the elements of anxious and avoidant attachment styles, and it's characterized by a desire for closeness but a fear of intimacy and vulnerability. People with this attachment style may the core conflict of this style, individuals with anxious avoidant attachment experience a core conflict between desiring intimacy and fearing it, leading to a push-pull dynamic in relationships. Childhood origins. Anxious avoidant attachment can develop from inconsistent or frightening caregiving behavior in childhood, causing the child to both seek and avoid comfort from them. Relationship impact of anxious avoidant attachment can lead to difficulties in relationships, including limited trust, unhealthy communication, and intense emotional cycles. Anxious avoidant attachment, also known as dismissive attachment, is characterized by a combination of wanting closeness and fearing intimacy. This style arises from inconsistent or neglectful caregiving in childhood, leading to a desire for intimacy while simultaneously struggling to form and maintain close relationships. I found my label. Individuals with this attachment style may exhibit inconsistent behaviors from seeking closeness to withdrawing and may struggle with emotional vulnerability and intimacy. Let's talk about the unpredictable responses. They may switch between being affectionate and emotionally distant without warning, creating uncertainty and confusion for the other person involved. Again, these don't have to be romantic. It can be any sort of relationship. I'm thinking of that Katy Perry song, Hot and Cold. It's kind of what this is giving. If you're someone who's been diagnosed with some sort of mental health issue, like bipolar or BPD specifically, it could just be your childhood trauma, right? Because the DSM does not utilize trauma-informed care. In fact, most practitioners and therapists don't under the APA, because the APA, the American Psychiatric Association, wants people to be cured with medicine. So they don't do trauma-informed care because you can heal yourself legitimately by healing your childhood trauma. Hi, that's what we do over here all the time. And even with all of that, I still struggle with these things because of my past, because of the things that have happened to me within interpersonal relationships, my family, as well as romantic partnerships, right? So some of the things that this can do is cause self-reliance and independence, overly independent, struggling to rely on others, difficulty accepting criticism. Yup. So anyway, I've been seeing a lot of this stuff on TikTok lately too. People are talking about these things. I think that sometimes the universe has jokes, and an avoidant and an anxious often find each other, and there's like this magnetic pull. But if we think about our interactions with others as reflections to cure our own projections, right? Like, we allow ourselves to see ourselves with others. It gives us that ability to work on the things that we don't like about other people within ourselves, right? I hope that made sense. So when magnetic people happen, right, when there's a balance of opposition between people, whether it's anxious, avoidant styles, whether it's like a narcissist or empath vibe either as well, right? Like, so there's some sort of drastic other end of the spectrum pull to each other, because that teaches us about ourselves, regardless of what that is. So anxious and avoidant, two sides of the same coin, but together can be like, did I already say Tasmanian devil? Because that came through earlier when we were talking. There could be this just like, if you know the Tasmanian devil, I know that's like an old ass Looney Tune, but he was destructive as fuck, and he turned himself into like this little tornado and fucked everything up. So like, if you're feeling like that, like there's this like force within you that is giving push-pull, right? Regardless of which one you identify under. Even mentioning empath and narcissist, there could be that within there too. All of it stems back to your childhood. All of it stems back to the way you were treated by the people closest to you. And you can't change that, right? And again, this all really resonates with that reading I already posted for the day. So go watch that. Again, it was the past informs the present, and the present determines the future. So if this is resonating with you, or if this is something that you've been experiencing with a relationship of some sort, or you're acknowledging within yourself, go check out that reading. It'll help you. It's only 15 minutes. But I hope this helps understand a little bit. Because when we understand how we work, we can understand how others work, and we can show grace and compassion, which also came out in the future aspect of that reading. It is the goal to be able to, kind of help each other up, by acknowledging that we've all been hurt, we've all been through things. Yes, some of those things were more severe than others, but ultimately, we've all, as children, experienced things that we should not have experienced. And I don't even want to talk about what's happening to children nowadays, how that's going to impact the future. Look at what's happening to these children. Children are no longer, I mean, I guess it's been happening forever, but it's been kind of under wraps, right? Children should be protected. Children are an oppressed class. And by healing ourselves, our little ones within us, it's like as adults, we become those adults we needed. We, we have to break our cycles. We have to decolonize. We have to understand why we are the way we are. And that's everything I put over here with all of these aspects and videos. It's a huge process. But I hope this helps you understand yourself and any situations. I mean, if you clicked on this, you needed it. And I hope that it helps. Have a good one.